The scorching summer sun beat down on the railway yard, where endless rows of freight containers stood like silent giants, their steel walls hiding secrets within. The air was heavy with stillness until suddenly, a German Shepherd canine snapped out of his calm stance and began barking furiously at one particular container. His sharp, urgent cries echoed across the gravel yard, startling the team of officers who had been scanning the area for suspicious activity. This was no ordinary bark, it was the kind of warning that made every trained ear freeze, the kind of signal that meant something was terribly wrong inside. And in that tense moment, as the officers rushed forward to pry open the heavy container door, hearts were pounding not from the effort of breaking locks, but from the chilling uncertainty of what they might find inside. None of them were prepared for the sight that awaited them. Before we go further, if you believe in the power of kindness, second chances, and the loyalty of animals, please take a moment to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel, Pawsitive Tales. Your support helps us continue bringing you stories that touch the soul and remind the world that hope still exists. Don't forget to comment below, we love reading your thoughts. The story began just days earlier, when a report reached the local police department about suspicious cargo being moved across the country. Freight containers, hidden in plain sight on long trains, had become a preferred method for smugglers. Most trains carried nothing more than harmless goods, grain, machinery, electronics, but sometimes, they carried something darker. Officer Daniels, a veteran with 18 years of service, had seen enough cases to know that ignoring a hunch could cost lives. That's why, when he received orders to sweep the rail yard with his canine partner, Rex, he took the task seriously. Rex was no ordinary dog. He had been abandoned as a pup, found wandering the streets, thin and half-starved, until a rescue volunteer noticed his bright eyes and unshakable determination. Months of training had turned him into a canine unit, but Daniels always saw more than just a working dog. To him, Rex was family, an unspoken bond formed between a man who had seen too much of the world's cruelty, and a dog who had survived it. That morning, the sun painted long shadows across the rail tracks as the team spread out to inspect the endless line of containers. Most dogs sniffed idly, finding nothing unusual. But Rex stopped cold near one red container, hackles raised, tail stiff, ears locked forward. And then, with a sudden jolt, he began barking loud, insistent, almost desperate. Daniels froze. He had worked with Rex long enough to know the difference between a routine alert and a cry for immediate attention. Something, or someone, was inside that container. The officers gathered quickly. Crowbars in hand, sweat dripping down their brows, they fought against the rusted locks. The container door groaned but resisted. Rex barked harder, pawing at the metal as though he could rip it open himself. Finally, with a snap of breaking steel and a collective heave, the door creaked open. A rush of hot, foul air escaped, carrying with it a stench of despair. And then, silence. The officers, who had been bracing for weapons, drugs, or something equally grim, froze in disbelief. Inside the container were children. Dozens of them. Their eyes blinked against the sunlight that poured in, fragile faces pale and drawn, tiny hands clutching each other in fear. Some were barely toddlers, others teenagers, all huddled together in a darkness that had stolen their innocence. Their clothes were tattered, their lips dry and cracked from thirst, their bodies trembling from exhaustion. For a few seconds, no one moved, the officers couldn't comprehend what they were seeing. And then, as reality hit, the air was filled with gasps, whispered prayers, and hurried calls for medical aid. Rex whimpered, stepping inside gently, lowering his head as if to comfort the children. One small girl, her cheeks streaked with dirt and tears, reached out a trembling hand and touched his fur. For the first time in hours, maybe days, her lips curled into the faintest smile. That single moment broke something deep within every officer present. They weren't just uncovering a crime, they were staring at stolen childhoods, stolen hope. Paramedics were called, water bottles passed, and the children carried out into the daylight. Some could barely walk, their frail legs giving way as officers supported them. The older ones tried to help the younger, but their own bodies were weak with hunger. Daniels found himself holding a boy no older than 7, who clung to him silently, eyes wide with fear but also trust. Daniels felt his throat tighten. He had seen criminals, he had seen violence, but nothing compared to the cruelty of locking children in a steel box like forgotten cargo. Investigations later revealed that the children were victims of trafficking, stolen from different places, forced into a journey that could have ended in tragedy if not for Rex. Each child carried a story of heartbreak. Some had been promised a better life, others simply vanished from their families. And now, by sheer instinct and loyalty, a dog had given them a chance at survival. But the emotional weight didn't end there. In the days that followed, Daniels visited the hospital where the children were being treated. Rex, too, was allowed in. His presence seemed to calm the children more than any words could. The same little girl who had first touched his fur refused to let go of him, clutching his collar as if he were her guardian angel. Nurses reported that the children smiled more when Rex was around, that they slept better knowing he was nearby. In a world that had shown them only fear, this dog became their symbol of safety. The case gained national attention. Headlines praised the bravery of the K9 unit, but Daniels knew it was more than just training. Rex had sensed something no one else could. He had seen beyond the silence of the container walls. He had heard the faintest whispers of life, felt the hidden cries of those children. And he had refused to walk away. As weeks passed, the children were placed in safe care, with families who would love them and protect them. Each goodbye at the hospital was tearful. Many of the children hugged Rex tightly, whispering words he couldn't understand but seemed to feel. For Daniels, it was bittersweet. He knew their lives would never be the same, but at least they had been given back the gift of a future. And so, the story of one K9 and his unwavering instinct became more than a police operation. It became a reminder to the world that sometimes, hope comes wrapped in fur, with paws that tread silently but hearts that thunder louder than any voice. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Pawsitive Tales. Your engagement helps keep these powerful stories alive and spreads the message that love, loyalty, and courage can change the world. Special request to comment. Share with us below, what do you believe was the most powerful part of this story? Was it the moment Rex barked, the children's rescue, or the bond that formed afterward? We'd love to hear your thoughts.